What is up, party people? We are live. We're going to cover some UFO news. A little late, about 7 minutes late here, but these things take forever to make, organized, but it is what it is. Let's shout out some of the chat before we get into some of the stories. Dilly Squats here. They say the photo on the left looks like before he took Ozempic for his head. Oh, maybe. I guess, I don't know. It's kind of sad. This guy's missing right now, so we're praying for Neil McCasland. Tankit says, I'm here, bro, and my mind is ready to be blown. ... I put a hat on. Hopefully it helps. Yes, hopefully it helps. Maybe I'll get to a point where I'm selling some of these, grifting off the hat merch, but not yet. Soon enough. We'll try by the end of the month, knock on wood. Stevel Knievel. So it's like a play on Evil Knievel? Okay, gotcha. We live in interesting times. We do. I heard the Jersey drones are still appearing, says Dilly Squad 030. Yeah, I've heard from people out there that they never went away. That they're still going on. I've also heard reports that there's like a current Texas drone wave related to some of this stuff. Spider Deck says, only interesting, haha. Pretty sure I need therapy from info overload. Yeah, there's so much going on right here. I saw a bit today on them. I didn't bother diving though. T James says, legit. That video where they catch them filming is good too. Zelda 3 says, 1-2, buckle my shoe. Nova Brand says, yes, and they're coming for your soul in 2027. Oh, shit. The drones are going to come eat your soul, guys. T. James says, 1 billion already here. Montezuma 88 says, yay, just got home. Yeah, I was hoping to do this around like 5 or 6, but I just took a power nap. Went on some exercising and then about to do it. Nova Brand Panty, please start the live stream. Gabe said, oh, he did? Gabe the Babes here in the chat. Okay, hell yeah. Spaghetti Eddie, Freddy is ready. Hell yeah, Maffic. Mr. Pilestyle says, where is RBK at? I'm here, brother. Now we're here. No amount of cash can make Hilary smell good. Yvonne's here. Hey, guys. Yep. Stains Blues here. Montezuma says they'd buy an RPK hat. Hell yeah. Squad. Matthew's here. Matthew 36959. What up, fam? Happy Blood Moon Lunar Eclipse. Time to release. Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot. Yeah, that's tomorrow, huh? Dear Lord, have mercy. Dear Lord, have mercy. Okay. All right. And Marie's here. Marie 5089. How you doing, Marie? If it's Marie I'm thinking of, hope you're doing well. All right, let's get into it. So we're going to cover a lot of stuff today. What are we covering today? Let's pull up my tweet about it. Although this isn't going to be our first story because I think another story kind of like leads into it. But we're covering a lot of stuff today. A lot of stuff is going on. There's so much. It's, like someone said earlier, it's information overload. It's hard to keep track. We're going to be covering this title story, of course, not first, though. Major General Neil McCasland, long connected to UFO programs, is missing. This is probably one of the weirdest stories I've seen in a while. This guy was connected with Tom DeLonge, John Podesta, allegedly. And yeah. We got another story. Peter Thiel and Sam Altman are summoning a Sumerian demon, according to Tim Dillon. It's fun. The Clintons today were asked. The deposition was finally released from their Epstein hearing. We're going to be covering today just the parts where Hilary was asked about UFOs, Pizzagate, Frazzledrip, Rothschilds, and Gilgamesh, the Tomb of Gilgamesh. We're going to cover this story that happened over the weekend too. Ross Coulthart says the U.S. Forest Service is hiding interdimensional portals in national parks. And then the first story we're going to be covering actually is the Department of War says AARO is helping with disclosure. Oh, we already got our first super chat. Shout out Yvonne Pandora. Glad to finally make it. Thank you for the super chat. I'm almost to a point where I have a little like media asset that I could play when I get a super chat, but I just keep on running out of time. And I want to sign up for the Cyber Anime contest, and I still haven't even started, so we'll see how that goes. All right, but thank you, Yvonne. All right, so let's get into it. 29 slides today. Hopefully we can power through it. What do we got first? All right, so let's get our little Mr. Beast voice ready. The Department of War announced recently that AARO will be assisting with UFO disclosure as announced by President Trump. This is a new story. AARO is the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office created by Congress, I want to say in 2020-ish, 2021-ish. There's been mixed reviews. Some people say AARO is doing a fine job. They're releasing good videos. Other people say AARO is modern-day Project Blue Book. This actually caused a lot of UFO tears over the weekend. A lot of people in the UFO community were like upset with this, but I think it's all generally good. Let's get into this.
3 days ago, President Trump.
This kind of goes off of what happened. Was this last week or 2 weeks ago now? Maybe last week? No, 2 weeks ago. Anyways, President Trump, after the whole Obama-Trump back and forth, he announced, based on tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. And, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, who's kind of preoccupied with other stuff now, but he was asked about this last week. Let's see.
Directed you to begin the process of identifying and releasing the UFO and UAP files. I mean, did you ever think that you would be the Secretary of War in charge of potentially declassifying extraterrestrial life to the American people and the world?
Did not have that on my bingo card at all.
And are you prepared to do that now?
Of course. I mean, we've got our people working on it right now. I don't want to oversell how much time it will take. Right? We're digging in. We're going to be in full compliance with that executive order, eager to provide that for the president. So there'll be more coming on that as far as the process of what we'll do.
And what sort of time frame? Do you have any sense for how long this is going to take?
I don't have a time frame for you yet, but stand
by on the time frame. Already in the chat, we got some people saying, Diddley Squad saying, this ain't good. Andrew Perry says, not good at all. Mr. Bobo says, same motherfuckers said disclosure was dead after the statement from Carl Nell about the current cycle ending. Yeah, so that was kind of the prelude to the news story, which was over the weekend.
President Trump directed
the Department of War actually released a video where they're talking about AARO and how AARO is going to help with disclosure and stuff. So let's go ahead and watch this video. This is kind of cool to see. This was like in the middle of a 5-minute video or something like that.
The Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to
This is the Pentagon spokeswoman. This was released on the official Department of War account. Let me see if I can find it while it
alien
plays.
and extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs. The Department of War's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, is working in close coordination with the White House and
I like how the music for disclosure, it reminds me of like a Chili's commercial or something, like the new special, like 5 items, $5 deal or some shit, and like they're at a bar and they're getting like wings and I don't know, mozzarella sticks and pretzels for a deal. Listen to the music here.
Files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs. The Department of War's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, is working in close coordination with the White House and across federal agencies to consolidate existing UAP records collections and to facilitate the expeditious release of never-before-seen UAP information. Since the office was established, AARO has made progress to make UAP information available and transfer those records to the National Archives in accordance with federal law. We welcome the President's initiative to supercharge these efforts and make UAP information available to the public as soon as possible. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for watching. God bless you all, and God bless this great country we call home.
God bless America. Let me look up something real quick. We're doing it live, y'all. We're doing it live. Mafia says, Muffing says, popcorn shrimp, LOL. Department of War now fully loaded this Friday at Chili's. Yeah, I don't know. That's just where my mind went. Maybe just because I'm hungry. I wanted to see this. Okay, here we go. There's a few things I wanted to pull up. So first we have this. Here's the actual tweet from the Department of War account, although it wasn't the official Department of War one. DOW rapid response. Now this is a Pentagon spokeswoman. You see the official Department of War thing in the background. 4-minute video, and like I said, like towards the end,
Direction of Southcom
you see this.
Francis.
McBalla with the super chat says $1 billion budget and the government is using royalty-free music. I know, right? Isn't it like, I kind of love when America's kind of corny and cheesy like that, though. I gotta be honest. There's a magic to it. But yeah, it is hilarious, the music they choose. Now, what's interesting with this whole thing is, if you recall, just when was this? A week ago? Let's see, what day was this? February 20th. So that's about 9 days ago now. Stephen Greenstreet, friend of the show, announced that he reached out to Sean Kirkpatrick about the whole Trump disclosure thing, the former head of AARO, who I think he just loves the media ever since he left AARO. Let's just reread quickly what Sean Kirkpatrick had said at the time. Stephen Greenstreet asks, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the recent hoopla of Obama saying aliens are real and Trump saying he's going to mandate a wide release of UFO files and alien files. Since you had access to all these files while director of AARO, what can the public expect to see if when such files are released? Sean Kirkpatrick replies, most of the files of interest have been released, including the ones I had declassified on Kona Blue. We worked hard among the National Archives and all of the supporting archives to find and release the documents in accordance with congressional direction. The public will likely see just as much new response as when Congress passed further legislation instructing industry to come clean on the alien tech they were supposedly hiding. The public shouldn't expect any further revelations as there really aren't any. Something that sometimes the truth isn't what you want to believe. Stephen Greenstreet responds, UFO believers are claiming victory at Trump's announcement, using it as evidence of the government acknowledging aliens have visited Earth via extraterrestrial UFOs. Your response? Oops, sorry. Sean Kirkpatrick says, only the truly naive and rationally challenged would claim this as an admission. This is both a distraction and a diversion from the fact that we're about to attack Iran and a response to Obama's public attention on the matter. So I thought that was interesting. A week ago, he called out that we're about to attack Iran. Was Stephen Greenstreet the leaker of that whole thing? But so he's saying don't expect anything. But let's watch this again. Let's watch the Chili's ad again.
President Trump directed the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, UAPs, and UFOs. The Department of War's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, is working in close coordination with the White House and across federal agencies to consolidate existing UAP records collections and to facilitate the expeditious release of never-before-seen UAP information. Since the office was established, AARO has made progress to make UAP information available and transfer those records to the National Archives in accordance with federal law. We welcome the President's initiative to supercharge these efforts and make UAP information available to the public as soon as possible. That's all we have for you this.
So kind of the opposite of what Kirkpatrick said, right? They're saying, oh, we're going to do it. And then with the official account, they're highlighting DOW AARO 323. AARO is working in close coordination with the White House and cross-federal agencies to consolidate existing UAP records collections and facilitate the expeditious release of never-before-seen UFO information. So can we expect stuff? Can we not? I don't know. Also, shout out Matt with the super chat here. Thank you, brother. I think you just put a period though, right? So just a period. Thank you, sir. All right, let's continue along here. Let's continue along because then Matt Ford, friend of the show, knock on wood, he had an interesting thing about AARO that he found. I guess there's a job application for AARO, and let's look at this.
Last week, President Trump directed the Department of War and federal agencies to begin releasing government files on UAP, otherwise known as UFOs. That is a bold move. That is something the American people deserve and have been denied for decades. And I support the intent 100%. But then the Pentagon responded. The Department of War announced in a video today that AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, will be the office tasked with carrying out the president's directive. AARO is the Pentagon.
I wouldn't say people were crashing out over this, but people were pissed. A lot of people don't like AARO. I mean, maybe there's valid reason.
Pentagon's UAP office.
I mean, the new guy Kozlowski kind of seems pretty chill. Yeah.
And their spokesperson said that AARO will, quote, consolidate records and, quote, facilitate their release. Consolidate, not release, not declassify. That is Pentagon speak for...
You can say a lot of things about Matt Ford, but I don't think anyone could deny that his lighting and camera work, he looks crisp, he looks clean. I will give him that for sure.
We're going to gather everything up and decide what you get to see. Let me be very clear. You cannot trust AARO. And before I tell you why, this very office, this Pentagon office, sent a recruiter to me via LinkedIn to apply for a job.
Okay, this is what I wanted to cover. This is the interesting part.
A journalist who has been publicly exposing their failures. And I want you to see what...
Okay, actually, I might even do this. I might even do another Mr. Beast intro. So here's the part where Matt Ford is going to announce that AARO, the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, the government's UFO program, reached out to him and offered him a job, but he had to be involved in deceptive practices, which is very sketch, very interesting.
Pentagon office sent a recruiter to me via LinkedIn to apply for a job. Me, a journalist who has been publicly exposing their failures. And I want you to see what they were looking for. This is that job listing for AARO, posted through a defense contractor called Arlo Solutions. Top secret clearance, SCI eligibility required. And right here, I want to show this to you.
Did Matt just let everyone know that he has a security clearance? Kind of interesting, right? Maybe.
Read this with me. Knowledge of influence operations, information operations, or deception activities. Deception activities. That is a desired qualification for working at the Pentagon's office that is supposed to be transparent with lawmakers and the public on UFOs.
That is interesting. Let's go one more time to the meat and potatoes of that moment. Knowledge of influence operations, information operations, or deceptive activities. Now let's watch this. Here's another Matt Ford clip from I think 2 years ago now. But here's him talking with Chris Sharp about Sandcorp, friend of the show. Sandcorp, just watch this. This is interesting.
One thing that we would love to dig into is Stephen Greenstreet found, which was a good thing he did find. I applaud this kind of journalism. He found, found that AARO has spent 28 million or something like that out of their budget with this corporation called Sandcorp to run a influence, basically an influence operation. I'm blanking. I just brain farted on the acronym, but it's basically, it sounds like a disinformation campaign. So the thing you have to ask yourself, if AARO doesn't have a front-facing website, they certainly don't tweet, why are they spending 28 million for a contractor to run IPMO, Influence Perception Management Office?
So this has been since the beginning with AARO, which is pretty shady and pretty sketch.
You also have to remember Susan Go too. She got her master's or doctorate in psychological warfare, and of course is working for OUSDINS. I mean, it's exactly. And one thing that folks should be that they should understand about an IPMO program. So essentially, the idea is, for instance, I could get hired by Sandcorp to sit and tweet disinformation out. I don't. I never would. None of my friends would ever do that. But they basically, it's a way you feed it.
Here's another interesting. I'm adjugulating on this beat right now, guys. We're doing it live. This is another interesting data point on this. Sean Kirkpatrick's patent that I think actually Matt in the chat found. Shout out Matt, if I'm not mistaken. Sean Kirkpatrick filed this patent. Now he's an engineer guy. He's a physics guy. He's a math guy. System and method for determining influence of channels in a social network. A social media service and platform generates. This is the abstract for it. Generates an improved measure of influence based on measures of purchases of fans made in response to content appearing on an influencer's channel. The improved influence score addresses the problem that conventional influence scores are often unreliable due to the use of bots and other techniques to artificially increase the number of fans and likes of an influencer's channel. Additional measures to ensure integrity of channels and support privacy and security may also be supported by the social network service. And here we have Sean M. Kirkpatrick. Same Sean Kirkpatrick. So he had a way to track influence basically in social media, which is, interesting. Maybe it's worth it though, because there is a lot of weirdo psycho shit going on, especially in UFO land with people buying bots and stuff like that. But yeah, fuck it. Since we're here and we're doing it all live, let's just watch. Tim Phillips was asked about AARO by friends of the show, Terrestrial Material and Grider, and even artisan Tony, and he kind of dodges the question. Let's watch this. I mean, he was asked about Sandcorp. This is the former intermittent director after Sean Kirkpatrick, before the current director, Tim Kozlowski.
Yeah, Tim, what is Sandcorp's relationship, Sandcorp Consulting, what's their relationship with AARO like? Are you familiar with them? They provide, there's a contract that I found, and they provide support services to AARO?
Yeah, as you know, a lot of the AARO staff is contracted support. So AARO probably wouldn't have a guy with advanced aerodynamics, physics, or know about the thermal properties of, ceramic materials. So what AARO would have to do is reach out into the private sector and be able to get a partial or a full-time, contract employee on board. So there are a number of contracts that OSD has, the national labs, the intel centers have, that AARO is able to put money on to be able to obtain that type of expertise. Out at the National Air and Space Intelligence Center out there in Dayton, Ohio, AARO funds, and which I would call the Aerodomain UAP Center of Excellence. That's what I kind of referred to it. But we had hired a team of PhDs and superb geospatial intelligence analysts that were developing the tradecraft that was being used to help us understand aerodomain UAP cases. And then we had kind of a similar track that we're doing in the...
Kind of didn't answer the question about why are you guys contracting a IPMO company there, Tim Phillips. But all good. All good. All right, I think that's it for that one. Let's get on to the next story. Great work, Grider, says Matt. Yep. Great work, Grider. I missed that one, Yvonne. We'll catch it later. Give me highlights. Okay, let's get to the next. Oh, wait, I was on the wrong thing. Here we go. All right, next story. All right, let me see. How do I want to do this one? Doing it live. This is a weird one. This was a weird one. Holy shit. Okay. All right, here we go. Retired Major General Neil McCasland, who has long been connected with UFO programs, has been reported missing. McCasland was responsible for managing the Air Force's $2.2 billion science and technology program at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. McCasland was also mentioned in the 2016 WikiLeaks emails as an advisor to Tom DeLonge regarding UFO disclosure. So this is pretty big, pretty weird, pretty wild. I guess first let's just read the silver alert. So this is a silver alert that was issued over the weekend in New Mexico. So he went from Wright-Patterson, Ohio. He retired, and then he ended up in New Mexico near Kirtland Air Force Base, of all places. Silver alert. The Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office is looking for assistance from the public and looking for 68-year-old William Neil McCasland. Last seen on February 27th, 2026 at approximately 11 a.m. in the area of Quail Run Court, New Mexico, Northeast New Mexico. Unknown clothing, description, and unknown direction of travel. Due to his medical issues, law enforcement is concerned for his safety. Very weird, very odd. Let's go ahead and watch some Vintage Panda, where I introduced Neil McCasland already in 2019. That's already, god damn, what is that, 6 years? I don't know.
It would appear that we are in the midst of the greatest paradigm
look at how wide-eyed I was.
shift our species has ever seen.
I thought Lou was a hero.
For the past 70 years, the subject
Okay,
of
let me get to the part I want to. Let me see. Okay, yeah, here we go. Right around here is where I think we introduce him.
covering it up due to malice towards citizens, but because it is an ongoing problem that they still don't fully understand. Tom's credibility regarding this whole timeline of events was highly doubted by many as he was collecting his advisors. Many people believed he had gone completely crazy due to the claims he was making about working with an aerospace executive, a general, and many other high-level officials in a coordinated effort to bring UFO disclosure. Many people had completely written Tom DeLonge off. However, during the 2016 U.S. presidential election, Tom DeLonge's extreme claims would be corroborated.
Was taking the weekend to prepare for the final debate this Wednesday, but as she stepped out of the spotlight, WikiLeaks released another batch of emails.
Good morning to you. The Clinton campaign calls this a crime reminiscent of Watergate, but worse. More than 1,900 emails.
WikiLeaks released thousands of emails from the DNC appearing to show
new details now on that email hack at the DNC this morning.
Saw the release of these 20,000 emails from WikiLeaks from the DNC.
During the 2016 presidential election, WikiLeaks would publish thousands of emails from the Democratic National Committee, thought to be originally obtained by Russia. This dump caused quite a stir in the 2016 presidential election and the American political scene. Among the thousands of leaked emails emerged emails of Tom DeLonge discussing UFOs with John Podesta. John Podesta was Bill Clinton's chief of staff, Barack Obama's senior counselor, and Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, heavily tied to the President of the United States. Upon leaving the Obama staff to join the Hillary Clinton campaign, John Podesta tweeted that his biggest failure was not securing the release of the UFO files. The emails between Tom DeLonge and John Podesta showed that Tom was indeed in contact with high-level officials regarding UFOs and disclosure. The emails discussed Tom's UFO disclosure idea.
Muted mic. Whew, thank God. Interestingly enough, this will come up again, Charlie, when we cover the Hillary Clinton question about UFOs. It's this Podesta guy. Podesta is all up in the mix with a lot of weird angles with this dude.
And also showed that a meeting took place between Tom, John Podesta, and the following three high-level officials. Robert F. Weiss, who is the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Aeronautics Advanced Development Programs for Lockheed Martin Skunk Works. This is whom I suspect was the original executive from Lockheed Martin with whom Tom initially spoke, and who connected Tom with the general. Major General Michael J. Carey, who was the Special Assistant to the Commander of Air Force Space Command at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado. Peterson Air Force Base is home to NORAD, the Space Command headquarters, and the United States Northern Command. And lastly, Major General Neil McCasland, who is the former head of the Foreign Technology Back Engineering Laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. This is whom I suspect was the general that Tom met with at an airport and who collected Tom his advisors. Major General McCasland is responsible for managing the Air Force's $2.2 billion science and technology program. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the base where General McCasland oversaw, has a long history with the UFO phenomena, being the place that the infamous Project Blue Book was based out of, and where all of the Project Blue Book files are located. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is also the place where the Army officially reported they took the crashed UFO wreckage from Roswell, New Mexico, before redacting their story and claiming it was a new weather balloon.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection.
This leaked information provided much credibility to Tom's claims of working with government insiders towards UFO disclosure. These are not random government employees, but some of the highest-ranking government officials who, of all people, would have knowledge of UFOs. I recommend everyone reads these emails.
Fine, and let's read one of them. So this is one of the ones. This is from Tom DeLonge to John Podesta, January 25th, 2016. So almost about a decade ago now. General McCasland. He mentioned he's a skeptic. He's not. I've been working with him for 4 months. I just got done giving him a 4-hour presentation on the entire project a few weeks ago. Trust me, the advice has already been happening on how to do all this. He just has to say that out loud, but he is very, very aware, as he was in charge of all of the stuff. When Roswell crashed, they shipped it to the laboratory at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. General McCasland was in charge of that exact laboratory up to a couple of years ago. He not only knows what I'm trying to achieve, he helped me assemble my advisory team. He's a very important man. Helped him assemble his advisory team is pretty wild, pretty crazy. And I think I had something else up here that I wanted to pull up, if I could find it or not. Who's actually I could Google it. But yeah, no. So who's on his advisory team while I'm searching for this? Hal Puthoff, Lou Elizondo, Steve Justice, former head of Skunk Works, Lockheed Martin. A lot of people were on this advisory team. Damn it, where is this thing I'm looking for? No, I can't find it. It's okay. I think I know where to find it too. Oh yeah, no, it was on somewhere else. Okay, yeah. So that's really interesting, right? Let me just read this too. Here's a brief outline of his career. Let me see, actually, is there a better shot on the next one? Actually, yeah, let's do it this way. So while I do that, I'm going to clip it out. Hopefully I'll remember to while I do this. Let me just read a brief outline of his career while we're here. And then I'm going to prepare this. We're doing it live, guys. We're doing it live. We're having fun. Thank you for being here. Damn it. Okay, I can't find it. Anyways, okay, here's a sorry guys, we're doing it live. Okay, here's a summary of his career. McCasland is a retired United States Air Force Chat GPT, by the way. McCasland is a retired United States Air Force Major General who served 34 years in the Air Force, 1979 to 2013. He was commissioned after graduating from the U.S. Air Force Academy in 1979 with a BS in astronautical engineering, and later earned an MS and PhD in aeronautical engineering from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. His Air Force career focused heavily on space systems, research, acquisition, and operations. Notable roles included leadership and engineering positions in classified satellites and special project offices. Director of Mission Planning for the Aerospace Data Facility, Chief Engineer for the GPS Joint Program Office, and System Program Director for the Space-Based Laser Projects. Interesting. Because that kind of reminds me of some of the weird drone stuff going on in Texas today, currently. McCasland held senior logistics and space acquisition posts, including vice commander positions at the Ogden Air Logistics Center and the Space and Missile Systems Center. In the Pentagon, he served as Director of Space Acquisition and then Director of Special Programs, overseeing highly classified defense initiatives. He accumulated his military career as commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, AFRL, at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, leading the U.S. Air Force's Science and Technology Research Enterprise before retiring in October of 2013. And remember, that's where Tom DeLonge says he was, that's the Roswell stuff. Yeah, that's where Tom DeLonge says that's where the Roswell stuff was at. Very interesting. I mean, just even separate of all the UFO stuff, just the fact that a major general goes missing like this is very odd. The fact that we're kind of in the middle of this Iran conflict is very odd. And then also, he is the UFO guy. He's connected to Podesta and the Clintons. He's connected to Tom DeLonge. And this happens, what, a week after the president says we're going to start declassifying stuff? So if there was somebody who would be like, you know, coming forward and talking about a lot of stuff they know, it's this guy. It's Neil McCasland. And all of a sudden he's missing? Like, what the hell is this about? This is very odd, very weird. Let's see, we got more on this. Oh, okay, how about this? Are you guys ready for this? Tell me this is not like predictive programming or something. I think to fully appreciate it, though, let's look at this first. Look at how I titled my post about this morning. Breaking: Retired Major General Neil McCasland, long connected to UFO programs, is reported missing. Pay attention to the language. I'm going to read it one more time. Breaking: Retired Major General Neil McCasland, long connected to UFO programs, is reported missing. And look at this, like, predictive programming from The Incredibles. I swear I didn't plan this, but this is odd.
Simon J. Palladino, longtime advocate of superhero rights, is missing. Gazer beam.
Bob, it's time to engage!
Isn't that weird to anyone else? One more time.
Simon J. Palladino, longtime advocate of superhero rights, is missing.
Doesn't it kind of look like him? Gazer beam. This dude was working on advanced tech and shit, and I think we looked it up earlier in space. He's connected to like directed energy weapons and lasers. Laser beam. Remember, we literally said lasers at the thing. Laser beam, gazer beam. Really freaking
gazer
weird,
beam.
Bob, it's time to engage.
One more time. Fuck it. I'm just my mind's blown.
Simon J. Palladino, longtime advocate of superhero rights, is missing.
I'm telling you, bro. I'll just give my schizo theories right now. Fuck it. What if he was kidnapped? Not even by like a country or anything. What if he was kidnapped by the NHI, bro? What if he was MH370'd? What if the controllers of this planet, if you will, they don't want this stuff out, and they're gonna kidnap him? They're gonna kill that. Remember? So let's recap what we got here. Head of basically the place where Roswell went missing. What is it, about a week and a half ago? Really, what's the word? Distinguished scientists working on like deep space theories and planetary systems and discovering new planets and alien life theories shot at Caltech. And then about a month before that, another like physicist, I think astrophysicist, murdered in a very weird way. Isn't that odd? As this is all happening, as we're supposed to be having disclosure. I don't know. Maybe I'm conspira booming out. Maybe not. We have another update. So this happened just hours ago before the stream. The FBI is now involved. This was a statement collected by Chris Sharp, who we covered earlier. The FBI Albuquerque field office is assisting with this investigation. BCSO remains the lead agency, and the FBI's involvement is in a support role as it is as a standard when they have a tool, tactic, or technique that they may benefit the investigation. At this time, there is no indication of criminal activity. This remains a missing person silver alert investigation. Really odd. This whole thing is just super, super odd. Let me see, what do we got next here? So this was on Reddit. No, but then this kind of got like debunked in a weird way. So we're going to read this first and then we're going to read the rebunk. So this was on Reddit today. Crazy. I worked under this guy, way under, at ATA, where he ended up in Albuquerque after the whole thing. At ATA has since been acquired and is now owned by AeroVironment, AV. Interestingly, we are the ones who developed the anti-drone laser that was used in El Paso and shut down the airspace there a few weeks ago. So again, I mean, that's literally what I said. I didn't even realize that. Can I do it live enough? Let's see if I'm good enough. Because we just covered this the other day too, remember? What are the odds?
CBS News, the FAA grounded all flights due to disagreements between the FAA and the Pentagon over drone-related tests. El Paso's mayor called the decision to close the airport an unnecessary one.
So yeah, interesting that he's connected to that. He literally is connected to it. I just threw that out there, but he's literally connected to it. Interesting, we were the ones who developed the anti-drone laser that was used in El Paso and shut down the airspace there a few weeks ago. A lot of my friends, coworkers knew him very well. He's really down-to-earth, humble guy. The kind of person you have immediate respect for when you meet because he's so warm and genuine. I left ATA years ago after it was acquired by Blue Halo. Edit 2, I've been asking around. He apparently has early onset dementia. He left ATA and retired because of it. Really odd. Really weird. But then Pavel, friend of the show, had this to say. Pavel Ibarra Meta. So a major update on retired General McCasland. I see information about him having early onset dementia, hence the silver alert. I happen to have two good friends who live less than a mile away from his residence. They went out to try to join the research team or the search team. After asking for more information, they told me that the search team currently has dogs, helicopters, and even horses searching for him. When my friend asked about his alleged cognitive impairment, the people from the search team were genuinely confused as to why someone would lie about this. This information about dementia is false, according to what I'm told, after directly asking the search team. Now, that does not mean the general doesn't have a different type of physical condition. That detail remains unknown. But to those who are talking about dementia, that is not the case. The general is completely lucid and has full cognitive abilities. As far as the search team, they already looked for all the they looked over all the hiking trails where he might have been. McCasland is an avid hiker. This actually all ties in because we're going to cover the portal story next too. It's all connected, bro. Pavel did a follow-up update, new update on General McCasland's disappearance. My friends asked more questions to the search team recently. Here's what they found out. The general left his mobile device behind when he left. This is how they were able to find out he is either a runner or a hiker. Interesting. Left his mobile device? I always like to track my stuff with my phone. But I guess maybe he has a smartwatch. A lady from the search team stated it was possible he had either a Fitbit or an iWatch, and that's why the phone was left behind. Oh, look at, see? They started searching every route from the phone app that he frequently uses. Okay, see? Interesting. So he does have a phone app that he likes to use routes. I guess it could be the thing. Okay. Drones were also used to look for him both on and off trail. The search team is trying to get more information about the general from people who know him. So if you know McCasland, you can contact the number below so they can ask you questions. If you call them, ask for a guy named Wes, one of the people leading the search team. That's the gentleman my friend spoke to, along with other ladies whose name I didn't get. Very odd, very interesting, very weird developments here. Here, I'm going to try one more time to find that one thing I wanted to find, and if not, we're just going to call it. But let me see. I think I can do it. It's Jason Somoza, I think is his last name, or Samoa. What's the Jason guy's name who's in the UFO community? Here, how would I find him? Oh, he did a Ron Pandolfi thing. Maybe I'll find that. He posted something interesting that McCasland had posted on Facebook. Is this me finding out I'm blocked in real time? So I can't find him. Right, here we go. No, we're trying to find it. Doing it live. Having fun. Everybody comment what you guys think is happening on in the bottom there. Sorry, guys. A little bit of dead air here, but I'm trying to find it. Jason. His first name is Jason, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Jason. Who would have it? Okay, here we go. Yes, Jason Samosa. Yes, and he still follows me and not blocked. Cool. So he's doing good stuff. Here's a post he had. It was Samosa. Yeah, it wasn't coming up when I was searching it. Let's do this. He found this post from General McCasland 3 years ago. Kind of found it interesting. Was he the guy who told Tom DeLonge it's all ancient gods? So this is redacted, says retired, not interested in outside employment. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. And then Neil McCasland put, who's God? Who's prophets? Who's priest? The absence of common ground answers to those questions is part of the basis of the wisdom guiding our founding fathers regarding public versus private spheres. And why today this forum's common ground is professional and secular, and I'll argue better that way. Happy 4th. So a little kind of weird esotericness. I don't know. Okay. I think that's that. How are we going to do this? Do I want to... Should we just do it live? I mean, I kind of have a lot of shit to do here. Should I just do it all? Fuck it. Yeah, let's just power through it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Okay.
Sam Altman.
I could technically say this one for
Sam Altman.
Let's just power through it. YOLO. All right. Tim Dillon says Sam Altman and Peter Thiel are literally trying to summon a demon with Sumerian with AI. Oh, actually,
Sam Altman.
Here, let me redo it in. What's it called? Yeah. All right. So Tim Dillon says that Sam Altman and Peter Thiel are literally trying to summon a Sumerian demon with AI, and that he has sources on this. This could be a joke. This could not be. Let's see.
One of the things that is always unfair in this comparison is people talk about how much energy it takes to train an AI model relative to how much it costs a human to do one inference query. But it also takes a lot of energy to train a human. It takes like 20 years of life and all of the food you eat during that time before you get smart. And not only that, it took like the very widespread evolution of the 100 billion people that have ever lived and learned not to get eaten by predators and learned how to like figure out science and whatever to produce you. And then you took whatever you.
So here's what's going on. I don't want to scare anyone. These people all believe that they are communicating with some ancient Sumerian deity. I know this I have kind of sources on this. They believe they really do. They believe they are communicating with super intelligence, and they do believe, and he just said it out loud, by the way. He literally just said, he was like, the 100 million years of evolution, all of the 20 years of life, they have all led to this point.
Tuba says, Tim is right. Tim is right. Let's see.
And this point is when we are going to give birth, as I've said on the show before, because this is their main goal, to the AI demon. They want to give birth to the AI demon, the super intelligent AI, who is then going to run the planet and decide who stays, who goes, who's necessary, who's not. They're pretty open about this. This is the thing about all of the AI people, all of the tech people. They really are, they really are pretty transparent when it comes to what they want to do.
Tube has another great point. Tim is right. Sam Altman is high on DMT all day. Yeah, a lot of these dudes are doing DMT at Esalen, right? It all ties in together. They're all getting tripped out, and they're doing drugs, and they're trying to interact. They're communing with ancient gods to gain info on tech. Eric says, "Is your source Satan?" Yeah, I think this is happening, guys.
And what they need to do in their minds, because they go, if China gets to it first, if China unleashes the AI demon before we unleash our AI demon, our American AI demon, Western values, America, rah-rah AI demon, and China enslaves their population with their demon, they will sell the world their demon, and then that demon will enslave the world, and then they'll make all the money, and they'll have all the geopolitical leverage, and they'll have...
Quick sidebar, and yes, I am a clip DJ. Thank you, Days, for recognizing it. That might sound like, look at this is Trump's literal AI czar David Sachs at the White House. That's him, at the White House on a podcast about a year ago now, saying that there is a non-zero risk AI grows into a super intelligence beyond our control. So basically saying this thing could be alive and be outside of our control, and saying that, hey, we got to do it anyways because China is going to do it if we don't.
There is some non-zero risk of AI growing into a super intelligence that's beyond our control.
That's not just your uncle. That's not just your conspiracy boomer uncle saying. This is the guy working for the White House in charge of AI saying there's a non-zero risk AI spirals out of our own control. This is like, we're doomed, guys. Fuck it. We're having fun.
There is some non-zero risk of AI growing into a super intelligence that's beyond our control. They have a name for that. They call it X risk or existential risk. I think it's very hard to put a percentage on that. I'm willing to acknowledge that is a risk. I think about that all the time, and I do think we should be concerned about it. There is some non-zero
risk, guys. It's on the table. It's on the board. I mean, at least he's honest. And then let's get this one.
China winning the AI race is a huge risk. I don't really want to see a CCP AI running the world. And if you hobble our own innovation, our own AI efforts in the name of stomping out every possibility of X risk, then you probably end up losing the AI race to China because they're not going to abide by this.
And remember, in the previous clip, he said X risk is the risk that AI becomes sentient and kills us, basically. So he's acknowledging that, like, we're kind of in this weird arms race where, yeah, there's a chance this shit could become sentient and kill us all, but if we don't do it, China's going to do it anyways.
Stomping out every possibility. If you hobble our own innovation, our own AI efforts in the name of stomping out every possibility of X risk, then you probably end up losing the AI race to China because they're not going to abide by those same regulations. So again, you can't optimize for solving only one.
Oh, Tupac's a great point. I think about that all the time is a huge tell. Did he say that? Fuck, let's go back one more time.
China winning the AI race is a huge risk. I don't really want to see a CCP AI running the world. And if you hobble our own innovation, our own AI efforts in the name of stomping out every possibility of X risk, then you probably end up losing the AI race to China because they're not going to abide by those same regulations. So again, you can't optimize for solving only one risk while ignoring all the others. And I would say the risk of China winning the AI race is, it might be like 30%, whereas I think X risk is probably a much lower percentage. So I
feel like this is a recipe for disaster. Oh, and Tuba said it was the clip before when he said it. Let's watch it back again.
There is some non-zero risk of AI growing into a super intelligence that's beyond our control. They have a name for that. They call it X risk or existential risk. I think it's very hard to put a percentage on that. I'm willing to acknowledge that is a risk. I think about that all the time, and I do think we should.
Oh, Tupa, yup. I think about that all the time. I think about all the time that there's a potential that the AIs are saying. I think about it all the time that there's a potential that this thing's gonna kill us all. Good catch, Tupa. See, that's why we love Tupa around here. So yeah, back to Tim, Prophet Tim. I think we should call him now.
Pretty transparent when it comes to what they want to do and what they need to do in their minds, because they go, if China gets to it first, if China unleashes the AI demon before we unleash our AI demon, our American AI demon, Western values, America, rah-rah AI demon, and China enslaves their population with their demon, they will sell the world their demon, and then that demon will enslave the world, and then they'll make all the money, and they'll have all the geopolitical leverage, and they'll have all the military advantages. So in this, quote, AI arms race, we are both racing, the U.S. and China, to give birth to an ancient Sumerian super intelligent demon. And your Aunt Connie in Phoenix, who's a receptionist, is fucked.
Pray for Connie, yo. Connie is... A lot of people are fucked. A lot of people are fucked.
Because that's what's going on, and you got to tell her that. You go, Connie, I hope you've saved money, because there are men in Silicon Valley who are communicating with an ancient Sumerian god. What? Connie, will you sit down and listen to me? Connie, have you saved your money? I've saved a little bit of it, but you know, the prices at the grocery store are so high. Connie, you have 18 months before your ass is out of that office. There's an ancient Sumerian god that Sam Altman and Peter Thiel are communicating with, and they're going to give birth to an AI demon.
Now, people like this, you know, people like this are plugged. He has a huge show. He's a comedian. Probably a lot of people like it's weird how plugged people could get the higher up you. I mean, like in a weird way, I get plugged on weird shit, and I have a small fucking digital footprint, and you know I could be getting stopped or shit. But when he says I have sources who tell me this, he could be joking. But I think there's also a fairly good chance too that he actually probably does have a source close to those dudes and might know about some shit that's going on there.
And what? It's a demonic force that's going to take form through artificial intelligence. And we have to do it before China does. Well, that sounds scary. You have no idea how scary it is, Connie, and you better save your money. You've got 18 months. 18 months left before this AI demon is going to do your job.
See, right? I feel like this is like the modern iteration of like when old cartoons would have like the Twin Towers ahead of it. It's like he probably knows some shit, and he's just letting the people know via a joke. Maybe he's not though. Now you guys might not know, but this ties into UFO Disclosure Land. Did you guys know this? I know Tupa's not surprised by this, but here's a friend of the show, Jeremy McGowan, famously was siled by Lou Elizondo, had the hate group unleashed. Here's a quick TLDR. Jeremy McGowan, this guy right here, Air Force veteran, saw a UFO in the 90s while serving in, I want to say, Jordan. He posted about his experience online on Reddit. People from the History Channel show Unidentified reach out to him. He tells his story. He becomes plugged in with Lou and the boys. He starts witnessing weird shit with them. This is before Lou was publicly a remote viewer. Lou's telling him, I could see your future. I could do all this. Lou is trying to sell this car that he had made, a UFO hunting car, to like HBO and acting like it was Lou's car. Just kind of weird shit was going on to the point where Jeremy McGowan was like, hey, I'm cool. I'm backing out from this. And then at that point, Lou Elizondo unleashed his online digital hate group, Scientology harassment cult, on Scientology-esque harassment cult on Jeremy McGowan. They're posting pictures of his family, his wife, his kids. They're trying to get him fired. They're sending him death threats. They're reporting him to the IRS. They're trying to get his security clearances revoked. Really weird, gross shit that happens. It's kind of died down, you know, since me and Tuba and a lot of others been sounding the alarm about it. But this was just the norm for a while. And this dude was like, this dude could have testified at Congress just like any of these other whistleblowers at one point in time. So that's how fucked up it was. But anyways, listen to what he's saying, that this guy, Sean Cahill, a Nimitz witness who's been on the news and one of Lou's friends, and what his thoughts were about this whole AI thing. And I found the language fairly similar. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not.
About this control construct and the fact that, you know, the dark forces were feeding on human emotions, and that we were caught in this was like a purgatory of sorts, where it's a cyclical process and we're constantly recycling humanity over and over again until we get it right.
Okay, I'm sorry. I need to like bathe in holy water. Freaking really?
I mean, ate it up. Oh my God.
I mean, I know it. I mean, I think we've all gone there, but I mean, is he related to Hal Puthoff? Is there some sort of, I mean, wow.
No, I ate it up. I called my vehicle the Osiris because of this. Sean had told me a story.
All right, here we go. Listen to this.
Anecdotal, I'm sure, maybe out of a Jacques Vallée book. I don't know. I haven't read them. Where he was saying that Sean believed that Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god, was actually an artificial intelligence that was being used by, you know, the pharaohs and folks like that to maintain control over the human population.
Now, interesting. Now, I'm not saying like, you know, Lou's like, you know what I mean, like believe everything he says, but I do find I'm very fascinated in the belief systems of the people at the center of UFO Disclosure. And I'm curious too, but I know hopefully you're still watching. Do you think Lou shares the same belief as Sean, that an ancient AI was kind of running shit? And you remember Lou, he presented the book Chains of the Sea, where one of the premises of it is like an Independence Day style alien invasion comes, and the aliens communicate with our AI separate of communicating with the humans. The aliens, there's native like ghost on Earth, and there's AI, and they all communicate separate of humans. So I don't know. If I was a betting man, I would bet that Lou Elizondo and Hal Puthoff probably believe this exact same thing. and probably a lot of the people at the center of this disclosure movement. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that's reality. I'm not saying they should be elevated anything beyond just people with belief systems. I personally am curious about this kind of shit.
Anecdotal, I'm sure, maybe out of a Jacques Vallée book. I don't know. I haven't read them. Where he was saying that Sean believed that Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god, was actually an artificial intelligence that was being used by, the pharaohs and folks like that to maintain control over the human population. And he even likened the symbol of Osiris, which is kind of a modified Ankh that has some lines going through it. He likened that to the modern iconography of data stacks and hard drives and things.
So here we go. We got Tupa Cabra says, if Cahill wasn't just making shit up, then both him and Lou believe it. Barrick Rosenkreutz says, yes, they are Rosicrucian. Makabala says, it's all sourced from the collective conscious. Tupa says 100% when I asked. Mr. Pilestar says, Lou, for sure, an eschatologist. Yeah, and Chat, tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm just looking. Doesn't this kind of sound similar to what Tim Dillon was relaying, that like they believe there's summoning an ancient AI demon from Sumer? He believes that Osiris was an ancient AI deity from Egypt, which is fairly close to Sumer, which a lot of the stuff like a lot of ancient stories just come from Sumer, like even all the stuff in the Bible.
Like that to kind of pair the idea that, yes, Osiris was an ancient artificial intelligence. So the reason I called my vehicle the Osiris and then came up with a backronym to make sense of it was because I thought it was going to be really poetic justice to use artificial intelligence to find ancient artificial intelligence that had screwed over humanity. I mean, I was eating this up.
Tuba says, this theory was talked about by Doug Vault, who recently passed away and has a popular YouTube channel. Very interesting. Yeah, really interesting, really weird. All right, let's get on to the next stories here. I think that's it for that one.
But just one thing.
All right, here we go. This happened over the weekend. Ross Coulthart claims that the U.S. Forest Service is hiding portals in the woods, and he's actually been to one of them. Interdimensional portals. Another claim from Ross Coulthart. Let's go through it, guys. Fuck it.
I want to throw out here, and I want to cause a bit of mischief with the U.S. government.
Cause a bit of mischief, mate.
I've just been somewhere in the United States where I know there is another portal, and I know the United States knows about it. And I was there just the other day.
I was there and I was scared.
And guess what? It's got a big fence around it, lots of security signs. It's supposedly U.S. Forest Service. But you know what? It's not. And it's supposedly ancient ruins of tribal art. And you know what? It's not. What's happening is that the United States is using the U.S. Forest Service and claims of the protection of archaeological relics to keep secret from the public a portal on U.S. soil. There, Megan.
There, Megan. We were scared. Deadly Squad says, I think he's talking about Bradley Ranch. TJM says, missing 411. Dr. Seuss up in this bitch. What about Ross's post on X talking about U.S. government 4K UP? Oh, yeah. I'll cover that maybe tomorrow or something. That was kind of interesting. We're at like 30 things that Ross is low-key gatekeeping on, but fuck it. I was scared. Missing 411. Yeah, a lot of people are saying missing 411. Let's see. Here's this one was clipped by Astro, although he didn't throw his watermark on it. Shame. Here's George Knapp talking about some portals on Skinwalker
One of the
Ranch.
most dramatic things that happened, there are two of the scientists. These are PhD level people. They walk around the middle homestead, and two guys are up on Skinwalker Ridge looking down. They've got infrared equipment watching. And one of them with the infrared sees what looks like a dirty snowball of light just hovering a couple of feet off the ground.
See, look at full circle. I think this might have been what happened to McCasland, bro. And a lot of the people were saying missing 411. People just go missing in the woods. They find random staircases and stuff. Like, I think it might all be connected. Uh-oh.
And he walkie-talkies these guys down there. Hey, do you see it? Yeah, we see it. It's kind of vague. Then he says, hey, something's happening. It's changing.
Our guys are on a ridge line looking down, and you see a light appear above the ground, expand.
This ball of light was stretching out. It became a tunnel of light into this tunnel comes a humanoid.
Oh, let's pause this real quick too. History Channel. Tuba says the conspiracy that national parks were established to hide these portals is really fun. So big they built a Chuck E. Cheese over it.
Figure.
Some kind of monster reach up, pull his shoulders, and come out.
7 or 8 feet tall, black, featureless.
Yeah, there's a thing with portals. We got another one too. I know History Channel's kind of wild.
There's allegedly
This is from American Alchemy. More Ross Coulthart portal talk. He was
a portal in the Bradshaw Ranch that was seen by the former owner of the ranch, Linda Bradshaw, and she actually took photographs of it. And it opened up in a particular area of the ground around that ranch, which just so happens to be the area that's fenced off. And we noticed that there is a tower in the middle of that area. This is supposedly a deserted ranch. There's nobody there, there's no electrical power, and there's solar panels on this post that has a camera. Now, if you're protecting the security of what is supposedly an academic research institution, you have the camera pointed out so that you can see people coming from the outside. But you know where the camera's pointing? It's pointing exactly at the point where Linda Bradshaw says she saw the portal.
so big they put an astral watermark over it to cover it up. Woo! All right. Ryan Skinner, friend of the show, I believe is affiliated with Skinwalker Ranch, dedicated himself in the history of Skinwalker Ranch. Here's what he said. Got some coordinates here, latitude, longitude, blah, 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 blah. Is the location for all the people following the recent Ross Coulthart story of a fenced-off government portal site. Apparently, a few hardworking internet sleuths took the clues I dropped yesterday and correctly identified the location. So there it is. Don't be caught on public land after 3 p.m. or go off trail. Again, on public land. Oh, go off trail. See, I'm telling you, this kind of connected to the McCasland thing. The video shows the parking lot. The location of the portal is if you continue past the restricted signs. So let's see. So there's the thing. Do not enter. So past this sign, I guess, is where the portal is. We got to go now, huh? I saw some people saying that's why they're so obsessed with Utah. The government's all obsessed with Utah now. So yeah, there we go. And then there was another comment in the thread. We're just doing the Twitter show. Here we go. This post is a cover-up story to hide the portal. It's depicted as if it's a national forest. Welcome to the national. Let's see. Welcome to the National Forest Recreation Fee Area. Do I need a pass? Where can I get a pass? Who lived here? People who have been drawn to this area for thousands of years. Spears, point to rock images. Okay, kind of cool, fun. Maybe not. And then Mike Jameson, another friend of the show. This is the dude I interviewed. They helped run the 1990s Operation Right to Know protest. Homie, he posted this. In 2001, the ranch was allegedly sold to the U.S. Forest Service via the Trust for Public Land, a non-profit California Public Benefit Corporation, for $3 million. However, according to Bustamante, the land was not sold but seized. Paul Babin, the investigative reporter, opened that question. What happened here was the changeover in ownership of Bradshaw Ranch. What we discovered in official government records, state government and federal government records, is that there was never a willful transaction of land. Bradshaw Ranch was never sold. It was seized through something called eminent domain. Eminent domain is the right to the federal government has to seize any land in the United States. So, yeah, kind of interesting. Let's continue along here. All right. Well, look at. I'm glad we did it because now we're going to our last stories. All right. What do we got here? How's everyone doing? We're having fun. We've got 600 people with us. Oh yeah. Be sure to like this stream. Like this on YouTube or X, wherever you're watching it. Comment underneath. You know, we're grinding out here. There's so much shit to cover. So much stuff going on. I go missing. Oh yeah, also let's not forget, let's do a re-shout out. We're monetized on this channel now. Feel free to drop a super chat. You know that you could do $2 ones. Yvonne Pandora, she said, glad to finally make it $10. Mac Bala says, $1 billion budget and the government is using royalty-free music. Yeah, from earlier. We're just re-shouting that. And then Matthew with the $5. Just throwing some money here. All right. How many do we have left? Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a few of the Clinton ones.
When your husband was president.
All right. They finally released the footage from the Clinton Epstein deposition before Congress, and she was asked about UFOs. She had some very interesting things to say about UFOs. Let's go ahead and watch it. Here we go.
President, it was Lawrence Rockefeller, had an effort to try to disclose UFOs, UAPs. When you were running for president, John Podesta publicly stated that you would disclose these files if given the chance, if you had been president. Are you pleased to see that these files may be disclosed finally?
I am pleased. As I say, I think they have to be carefully scrutinized so that no national security information is disclosed. But this is an issue of real importance to so many people. And I think whatever can be disclosed should be disclosed.
Was there a program that specifically that was referencing that you were aware of?
I was not. As you mentioned, John Podesta, who was one of my advisors, was deeply interested in the issue. And if I had been elected, I certainly would have listened to his advice.
Well, thank you for indulgence on that.
Shout out Burles and sneaking the UFO question in. I respect it. All right, we got another UFO question. But actually, no, that is fact. Lawrence Rockefeller was pushing this 1990s initiative. The Clintons, as far as I'm concerned, were actually really calling for it in the 90s, but it seems like they got stonewalled. You had congressmen like, Adam Schiff in New Mexico, who died under mysterious circumstances around the same time, too. There was a lot of energy around the 90s, and we just covered Mike Jameson, my friend, who helped organize the protest in the 90s about all this stuff. And let's watch some more of it.
Have you ever denied access, or did you ever inquire on the topic of UAP or Gilgamesh in your official?
Rep Luna, friend of the show, asking about UAPs and Gilgamesh, the tomb of Gilgamesh, from those documents that were FOIA'd, where it kind of almost seems like Hillary Clinton was asking about, if we went to Iraq, for looking into the tomb of Gilgamesh.
Personal capacity and why?
I was never denied access because I never asked for access.
Okay. In the efforts of having a transparent government and restoring faith within our country, do you believe that the American people deserve access to those topics?
I do. Subject to any national security implications, I think the information should be made available. I think that's been ordered, or at least I read that it had been ordered.
And then one more. Shout out Luna. Eric had a great point. We're going to cover that next. But
this is sort of like off subject, but didn't you all require in the latest defense authorization that the UFO information has to be
out.
What?
They ripped it out. They killed it.
Oh, I thought that had gone through.
That was my amendment, and it got ripped out.
Oh, okay. Well, you've just, I didn't know that. So thank you for enlightening me. Okay.
Yeah, they've been killing it.
I didn't know that.
Some good press coverage for the NDAA. Eric Tomlinson says she took the question seriously here. She downplayed the question in her press conference. Yeah, let's go flash back and watch that again. Remember this? She did kind of throw some shade on it.
It then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate.
How throwing shade at UFOs. Mind you, she was all up in the mix with UFOs. I'm trying to find the... Let's find it. Can we find the open? Yeah, let's watch this again. Fuck it.
Is the Secretary of State a believer?
Does
Hillary Clinton really believe we're not alone? This picture might suggest she is certainly exploring the concept. This picture was taken in late August 1995 while on vacation at Lawrence Rockefeller's JY Ranch south of Phelps Lake in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. This was the same time when the late philanthropist and billionaire Lawrence Rockefeller was involved in bringing the UFO issue to the attention of the White House. Rockefeller and attorney Henry Diamond had met with the White House science advisor John Gibbons in 1993 to lobby for a government release of UFO secret files. It was not unreasonable to think that the former First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton had discussed the UFO subject with Mr. Rockefeller. But could we prove it? A few years ago, the Clinton Library released dozens of documents of the so-called Rockefeller UFO initiative where the First Lady is mentioned. It was also mentioned that her staff aided documents of the so-called Rockefeller UFO initiative.
Has been discussing with Mrs. Clinton and her staff. So yeah, they're totally discussing it.
Her staff aided Rockefeller's staff in the drawing of a letter to the president for disclosure. They also released these color photos of Hillary and Rockefeller walking in one of the JY Ranch's many wooded paths.
And the book she's holding is all about UFO or about alien theories.
Two photos in particular showed Hillary holding a book, the back cover upside down and partially covered by a jacket. That book in question was Are We Alone? philosophical implications of the discovery of extraterrestrial life by the renowned physicist.
So good point. She's throwing shade at the questions here. But she was all in the mix in the 90s about all this shit. And she
It
said
then got, at the end, quite unusual because I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate. And
then remember this too. They were all throwing shade at it. Remember this? Maybe I guess this is the one to watch. Fuck it.
Unusual because I started being asked about UFOs.
Let's see. This one. Although I'm gonna have to do the. Here we go. This one.
I started being asked about UFOs and a series of questions about Pizzagate.
Secretary Clinton actually asked us about what happened with the disclosure language in the NDAA. So
we had multiple members ask questions, the most odd questions about UFOs, about Pizzagate.
Asking questions about UAPs, UFOs, as interested as I am in the subject too, it has nothing to do with this investigation.
How do we get to the bottom of what's going on by asking Hilary Clinton about
They delivered pizzas during the hearing. Hilarious.
UFOs and Pizzagate, Lauren.
Trolling. Elite trolling.
Well, those topics did come up, and there are things within the Epstein file that leads to these questions.
When you mentioned the UFO questions, and she mentioned Pizzagate,
we began asking her questions about UFOs and aliens.
Asking the former secretaries of state about UAPs and UFOs.
What we do not want today is a sideshow and questions about UFOs or about conspiracy theories.
So yeah, point being, she was about it. She was about it in the 90s. I'm just going to replay the clips again because it wasn't in history.
When your husband was president, it was Lawrence Rockefeller had an effort to try to disclose UFOs, UAPs. When you were running for president, John Podesta publicly stated that you would disclose these files if given the chance, if you had been president. Are you pleased to see that these files may be disclosed finally?
I am pleased. As I say, I think they have to be carefully scrutinized so that no national security information is disclosed. But this is an issue of real importance to so many people. And I think whatever can be disclosed should be disclosed.
Was there a program that specifically that was referencing?
Staines Boo says, you can tell who was interested in the UFO questions. Yeah, she was, and she pushed for it in the 90s, so for her to throw shade after the fact, kind of shady.
You were aware of?
I was not. As you mentioned, John Podesta, who was one of my advisors, was deeply interested in the issue. And if I had been elected, I certainly would have listened to his advice.
Well, thank you for indulgence on that.
Have you ever denied access, or did you ever inquire on the topic of UAP or Gilgamesh in your official or personal capacity, and why?
I was never denied access because I never asked for access.
Okay. In the efforts of having a transparent government and restoring faith within our country, do you believe that the American people deserve access to those topics?
I do. Subject to any national security implications, I think the information should be made available. I think that's been ordered, or at least I read that it had been ordered.
And then one more.
But this is sort of like off subject, but didn't you all require in the latest defense authorization that the UFO information has to be? What?
They ripped it out. They killed it.
Oh, I thought that had gone through.
That was my amendment, and it got ripped out.
Oh, okay. Well, you've just... I didn't know that, so thank you for enlightening me. Okay.
Yeah, they've been killing it.
I didn't know that.
Accepts Representative Perry from Pennsylvania.
All right, on to the next one.
Finally indicted for serious.
Oh, here we go. Here was an interesting one. Hilary Clinton kind of said that Epstein died under mysterious circumstances. Almost seems like she might have thought he didn't kill himself or he was murdered. That he might be alive. Let's watch this.
Serious crimes, and he was in prison, and then he mysteriously died.
We can all agree, I think, that Jeffrey Epstein was a monster, that he was empowered or enabled by Ghislaine Maxwell. I think we can all agree with that, correct?
I can't characterize their relationship. I think you can agree that he committed crimes. He was not fully held accountable for them. which could have stopped his predatory practices, perhaps, that continued for quite some time afterwards. And then he was finally indicted for serious crimes, and he was in prison, and then he mysteriously died.
And then he mysteriously died. Is that her saying that he's still alive or that he didn't kill himself? You know, we're going to look into, we're conspiracy boomers over here. We're going to look into every little thing.
And then he was finally indicted for serious crimes, and he was in prison, and then he mysteriously died. And with her, she was, finally indicted, tried, and convicted. And I think you have to look at it in the chronological way in which it unfolded.
Yeah, I think that there's varying degrees of culpability. She was certainly going beyond just being silent in her knowledge about the horrible acts that he was doing, but she was actually enabling it.
That's what she was convicted of.
That's right. But if she had not been enabling, if she had not been taking those steps, if she had just been silent.
Are you asking me to speculate?
I'm asking, would you agree that she would be culpable as well?
But yeah, so basically she says he died under mysterious circumstances. All right, let's keep it moving. Tupa says she refuses to acknowledge he was a real jerk. Astral says she has zero empathy. T. James says, let Nick laughing right now. Hi.
Are you aware of any?
Right, now here's where it got really interesting. Hilary Clinton was asked about Frazzledrip today at the Epstein questioning. Let's do a brief recap of what Frazzledrip even is. Frazzledrip, from this graphic, this is the purported file name of a snuff film found on the laptop of Anthony Weiner in a folder named Life Insurance. It was said to make even the most hardened New York City police veterans cry. It's said to show Weiner's wife, Huma Abedin, and Hillary Clinton performing a satanic ritual abuse on a young girl, surgically removing her face and wearing it as a mask to flood the victim's bloodstreams with adrenaline. Blood drank in this state is an elite drug of choice called adrenochrome. So let's just watch when she's asked about it. This is news.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled Frazzledrip?
Notice how weird they get. Notice how the attorneys are like, they're majigulating. And look at what people were pointing out. What people were pointing out was that she immediately touches her face. It's a little interesting, right?
A zip file titled Frazzledrip.
This is way outside the
chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside the
scope. Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
I'm not saying for sure she did it or not. I just, it is interesting. It gets brought up and she touches her face, the circle of her face. I don't know. People are saying the body language says it all. One more time, fuck it. And then the other interesting thing about this is they go right to off the record session. Shout out Lauren Boebert, by the way.
Zip file titled Frazzledrip.
This is way outside the
chairman's
scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside the
scope?
scope.
Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope.
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
You can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record and can talk.
It's interesting too. Another thing, she smiles too, right?
In insurance.
Look at her smile.
That were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance, with a zip file titled Frazzledrip.
This is way outside the scope.
ruling.
This is way
within the
outside the
scope? Is this within the scope, Mr.
If
Chairman?
the chairman rules that it's not within the scope.
Mr. Chairman, based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
You can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record and can talk.
Go off the record at that point. Kind of interesting, kind of weird, kind of odd. Let's we're mixing it live, guys. We're doing it live. Here's Laura Boebert. Remember when she was asked about this? Why she asked these questions? Let's see.
How do we get to the bottom of what's going on by asking Hilary Clinton about UFOs and Pizzagate? Lauren.
Well, those topics did come up, and there are things within the Epstein file that leads to these questions. These files open up a whole mess, a whole trove of questions to go down. And, Hillary Clinton being connected so tightly with John Podesta, who's connected with Anthony Weiner, and all of these things, they all kind of tie together, especially when you're talking about women who are being trafficked. So this isn't to highlight some big, vast conspiracy about a pizza parlor, but I think there needs to be questions, and I asked some questions on this topic that should be explained. There wasn't an explanation given, of course, and then other members
About
certainly asked
Pizzagate?
about UFOs. I'm sorry?
And UFOs? Like, what did you want to know about UFOs and Pizzagate?
Well, I think everybody
that
wants
would
to know
matter
about
survive?
UFOs.
Let's watch this now too.
Speaking today in Nevada,
We never thought we were going to say
Flashback.
thank you to Anthony Weiner.
Speaking today in Nevada, Donald Trump continues capitalizing on news that the FBI is reopening its investigation into Hilary Clinton's email scandal. The Wall Street Journal reports 650,000 emails are sitting on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Thousands of those may involve Clinton's server, since Weiner was married to Clinton's top aide when she was Secretary of State.
Who, by the way, Hugh Aberdeen is now married to George Soros' son. Really odd play. Isn't it interesting how this all this stream? I didn't even plan it, but it's all tying together with like McCasland and the Podesta emails and portals, and he's missing, and now we're Pizzagate. Weird time to be alive.
She was Secretary of State.
To cover up her crimes, she bleached and deleted 33,000 emails after
Another with the 33. Why is it 33,000? You know when Hillary Clinton bailed out the people out of Haiti, they were trying to steal 33 kids. Howard Lutnick lost 33, or what did he say about? Howard Lutnick said something about 33. Oh yeah, that they lost. Oh no, Howard Lutnick said the average age of employees he lost on 9/11 was 33. Very odd. Why?
and deleted 33,000 emails after receiving a congressional subpoena.
Clinton is campaigning today in another battleground state, Florida.
Donald Trump is doing his best to confuse, mislead, and discourage the American people.
Clinton avoiding the topic of her emails, instead
Okay, now let's
focusing
go
on
here to more Tim Dillon, full circle again.
I believe there's two possibilities. Number one, there's a dead man switch somewhere, meaning that Anthony Weiner's still alive, because I believe there's two possibilities. Number one, there's a dead man switch somewhere, meaning that there's something somewhere.
You know the story about his laptop with the cops that saw it?
And supposedly they're all dead? Yeah.
A bunch of them.
Crazy.
Yeah, how many cops are dead? Google that. But the other thing is that they said what they saw was so horrific.
Then that's
like some of them took their own lives.
Well, that's crazy. That whenever there's so many suicides,
Interesting. The music is kind of loud.
I start to get a little. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, what happened here?
Also, did you ever see him on Patrick Bet-David when he starts bringing up the Clinton body count?
Yeah, and
he gets like super defensive.
Well, it's very obvious that
the Grok conversation came up with an answer.
Grok.
So is it not true? I don't know. Okay.
Grok's
A
been
claim that
compromised.
9 of the 12 NYPD officers who viewed Anthony Weiner's laptop subsequently died by suicide has been widely circulated, but it lacks substantiation with concrete evidence linking these officers directly to Weiner's laptop. Here's the details based on available information. Joseph
No,
Calabresi,
I didn't
by the way, that guy's on the take.
Right.
Red name.
Hey, Joseph, what's
Anyways, point being, weirdness around that whole situation. Weirdness around that. I'm trying to see if I can find what they're referencing about this Patrick Bet-David, Anthony Weiner situation. Yeah, here we go. Anthony Weiner has a meltdown.
In the military and dragging their name
I
through the
have a
dirt.
reputation to ask tough questions and piss some people like you off. That's
And
my reputation.
including dead people who I'm going to stand up for.
Oh, trust me, we are standing up for them more than you are standing up for them.
Let's see. You better get back to that list because we're going to clear some people's names today.
My question for you is, how is it that in the last 50 years, we don't have a single candidate? Everybody has their own. Hey, John F. K. was a playboy with Marilyn Monroe. Trump, Karen McDougal, Stormy Daniels. You know, George Bush linked to 9/11 and weapons of mass destruction. Bill Clinton linked to Arkansas women, all this others. Everybody has a reputation. How is it that the reputation that follows them as people close to them die? Why is that a story that many people believe in? Why is that?
Are the Clintons in their 70s yet? You don't think I can make a list of other people who are 70-something years old and say this person
How
died,
come they
that
haven't
person
done
died,
that
this
with
person
Bush?
died? Hold on.
How come they haven't done that with Bush? He's in the same age.
I have no freaking idea why they haven't.
How come they haven't done that with
Hold on
Trump?
a second. But so are you saying? So you agree with what I'm saying?
How come they haven't done that with Reagan?
So
how come they haven't done that with Kerry?
What point are you making about these men and women who you
How is it
listed?
so many people close to them died? How is it so many people close to them?
Everybody dies.
How is
are
it
you
so
suggesting?
Many
Okay.
I'm asking the question.
You're
is what
asking
I'm
a
doing.
bizarre question.
Exactly.
Did
It's
people
pissing you
die?
off.
Did people die? No. What pisses me off, and I'm going to
Is
say
what?
this again because you apparently are not listening to me. You read a list
Yeah.
of people off an obscure website that of conspiracy theory, taking a Venn diagram of everyone that
Is he drinking a White
you
Claw?
read a list of people off an obscure website that of conspiracy
In my head canon, that's a White Claw.
theory, taking a Venn diagram of everyone that ever worked in the orbit of someone who served in public life for 50 years.
Okay, so yeah, crash down about that. Fun times. Go here. All right, here's another one. Hillary Clinton was asked about Pizzagate. Let's watch her reaction during the Epstein deposition.
Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims regarding the Podesta emails, Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code possibly?
I'm sorry,
You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files which relate to the wacky Pizzagate
You
scandal.
could characterize it however you want. I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So
She's
excuse me,
commenting.
your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be.
There are connections to the language. I'm
Well,
not
the
talking
QAnon
about-
people believe there are. So
I don't know what QAnon
have at
people
it.
believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking or information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019 contribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate style theories about Democrat figures?
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most
speculation.
ridiculously.
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive those claims? And what steps, if any,
Tuba says, I really don't want to believe she would wear the face of a kid, but her behavior here is very telling.
have you taken to clarify?
Bro.
Again, object to the ground.
Objection. I think that's a very, we're going to bounce around. We're DJing it live. Shit, where are we at here? Okay, yeah, here we go. Doing it live. Because remember, there was some Pizzagate stuff in here in the emails of Jeffrey Epstein. You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza. In response to she's pregnant. So referring to a baby inside a woman's womb as pizza. Feeney asking about a pizza party this weekend. Order pizza for Bobby. Those might just be alerts, but there was a few other ones that were in the thing. But this one for sure is one where it's like, you're definitely referring to a baby as pizza in 2016, right around the same time as the Pizzagate emails. Let's watch Ian Carroll on
those emails are bananas.
And they're not explained.
They're talking about young kids who are going to be coming to a party to have fun. They're talking
They'll be
about
in the
pizza
pool,
and
they will-
hot.
Dear Barack, when we began the pizza agreement, I thought we were going to be more careful than this. This is from Hilary Clinton to Barack Obama. Dear Barack, when we began the pizza agreement, I thought we were going to be more careful than this. Operating from the White House is not what I originally had in mind. Remember that hot dogs can come, but if you make a spectacle of it, that will be our downfall. What is that supposed to mean, gang?
Be there for sure. $65,000 worth of hot dogs flown from Chicago for a White House party.
The whole thing is like very weird.
Did you ever see the archived Instagram post from James Alefantis' Instagram?
No,
because that's a dark place. So that there's
Notice she brought up that too. That a deranged psycho shot up this really low key shady fucking place.
so many layers to.
Which was probably a psyop. That seemed like the psycho she mentions just happens to shoot the hard drive only. Come on, are you serious?
Pizzagate that they tried to cover up intentionally for very good reason.
Well, how about the logos?
Well, the thing is, I avoid in the way I've talked about it, I've avoided all the symbols and logos and even some of the pizza stuff because I think there's so much more ripe, clear evidence that is way more powerful. And James Alefonso's Instagram account is a great example where
can you find it online?
So you cannot find it on Instagram anymore. It's only been archived onto other sites, which is
Pizzagate led to a crazy guy shooting up a fine gentleman's pizza parlor, and this is the fine gentleman. Oh my
kind of sketchy because it's like, how do I know you're not adding photos and stuff? So you kind of have to dig and dig and dig and cross-reference over and over and over to make sure that you're getting sort of like the consensus, because everyone watched as it happened. So people like Liz Crokin, people like Alex Jones, like they saw these things come out. And you can
people like Tupa and Panda in the racist Discord
find plenty of different archives of all of James Alefonso's Instagram posts, and there are things like photos of children with their arms taped to tables, and the caption is "looks like a fun time." And then people that have always been commenting on his posts, like the people that are interacting with his posts all the time, have even weirder Instagrams where it's like kill room, and there's a coffin that's open and things like that.
Totally
there's
normal.
like a photo of like a walk-in freezer, and it's like, man, looks like you've been having a fun weekend. Things like that are just super dark. And a bunch of babies and a bunch of symbolism, a bunch of children.
Yeah, really fucked up, real gross. So yeah, how dare you ask about that?
Pizzagate as a baseless conspiracy theory, alleging you and others ran a child sex trafficking ring from a Washington pizzeria basement. Have you reviewed any 2025-2026 Epstein files that were released that you believe reference or relate to those specific 2016 claims
ask it. You're there.
regarding the Podesta
I respect
emails,
it.
Comet Ping Pong Pizza used as code, possibly?
I'm sorry.
You're asking her about whether she's reviewed emails in the Epstein files, which relate to the wacky Pizzagate
You
scandal.
could characterize it however you want.
Don't do pizza outside the White House, Obama. That will be the downfall of us. Yeah. Okay. Wacky. That's wacky, crazy, psycho.
I just would like to know if she's familiar with any of them.
So
She's
excuse me,
commenting.
your question is about whether or not she has reviewed any emails in the Epstein release files about Pizzagate.
Correct.
Look at her face.
Pizzagate was totally made up. It was an outrageous allegation that ended up hurting a number of people, that caused a deranged young man to show up with his assault rifle and shoot up a local.
Daisy 2 says touching the face again. Remember, a lot of times people touch their face, it's not good. We quoted a few people. Who was it? The one who lied about the NSA. He was all touching his face. Yeah, people.
Pizzeria. I can't believe you're even referencing it. You should be.
There are connections to the language.
Well, the QAnon people believe there are. So
I don't know what QAnon people believe.
Have at it.
But you've accused certain parties, and I think even right now today, of promoting slow walking or information in ways that fuels conspiracies. In your view, did any Epstein Maxwell related investigations or file handling pre or post 2019 contribute to or intersect with the spread of Pizzagate style theories about Democrat figures?
Objection.
I have no way of answering. That is the most
speculation.
Ridiculously.
Have you or your representatives identified any Epstein file content that has been misinterpreted online to revive those claims? And what steps, if any, have you taken to clarify?
Again, object on the ground of.
I think that this is all very
Speculation.
reasonable.
Now, I'm going to double check. You know, there's a lot of fake ones. Maybe this one's fake, but if it's not fake, like, what the fuck? Dear Barack, when we began the pizza agreement, I thought we were going to be more careful than this. Operating from the White House is not what I originally had in mind. Remember that the hot dogs can come, but if you make a spectacle out of it, that will be our downfall. Please know that I'm speaking as a friend. You are the president and can do as you like, but I have to say I think it would be wiser to restrict this activity to predetermined locations. Let me know what everyone thinks. We can vote on it if you'd like. Thanks, Hillary. Anyways, all right, two more left. All right, President Bill Clinton can't stop smiling as he's looking at photos of him and Epstein and probably some of the girls they're hanging out with back in the day. Look at this.
Let me see.
Look at him reminiscing.
Okay.
Mr. President, we have about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you some
She had to take
questions.
it away from him. He was like having the time of his life.
Okay.
Oh yeah, those were the days with Jeffrey Epstein on the island. Oh, I remember her. I remember him. Oh yeah, the jacuzzi. Look at that.
Mr. President, we
I
have
looked good back then, didn't I? Yeah. Okay, Bill. All right, Bill.
about 5 minutes remaining in the majority's first hour, so I just want to ask you some questions
Yeah,
related.
he's still thinking about it. Hilarious. The lady on the right is so embarrassed. LOL Panda. Billy is happy. He got nostalgic, says LW Mark. He's drooling, bro. Yeah, fuck it one more time. He's like, oh, yeah, I hit that, didn't I? He's literally drooling. He's like, give it back to me. I want to see it. Give it back. Just the thing with this. You can't make this shit up. Give that back to me. Look at her. Oh, this
Mr.
fucking
President,
guy.
we have about
Wow. What a time to be alive. What a time to be alive. All right. Last one. All right. Ghislaine Maxwell, the Rothschilds. Bill Clinton says that he met Ghislaine first through the Rothschilds. So these Rothschilds just keep on coming up amidst these Epstein files. Let's watch the clip.
Yep.
During Ms. Maxwell's interview, she stated that President Clinton was her friend, not Epstein's friend. Is that accurate?
I'd say that it was accurate to say that I felt closer to her than him.
And for the record, why was that?
Because I had seen her more and because she was very good friends with Evelyn Rothschild and his wife, Lynn.
Evelyn Rothschild and his wife, Lynn. So they're all connected. I see Carl's here. Thanks for being here, Carl. I haven't seen you in one of these in a minute. And thank you, Heather, for being here. And yeah, thanks everyone else for being here. I'm going to close it out. Fun times. Let's do a space or something on X. I'm still up. I'm going to make dinner. I'm doing my life late right now. But yes, God bless you guys. Have a good one. Ending abruptly.